Drivers, start your engines. I'm Angela Roach, and this is Behind the Wheel, powered by HireMaster. In this week's Get Hired segment, data from FTR Transportation Intelligence shows that Class 8 truck orders continue to fall to its lowest levels since last November, and orders in May of this year were 43% lower than in May of 2021. OEMs, or original equipment manufacturers, are taking less orders and continue to be conservative on their estimates for the rest of the year, having yet to publish their build schedules for 2023. As the availability of parts continues to be an issue and much of the backlog of last year's truck orders remains, OEMs are concerned about overbooking and underbuilding, a phenomenon that happened last year. This has created a problem for many carriers, as equipment is remaining in service longer than scheduled. According to Don Ake, FTR Vice President of Commercial Vehicles, quote, "Demand for new trucks remains healthy. The amount of freight is growing, and fleets need more trucks to keep up with customer demands and to trade in older vehicles. The supply of new trucks has been running way behind demand for over a year now, and many fleets need to catch up to their replacement cycles." End quote. As drivers consider their next opportunity, it would be wise to ask about the age of the fleet, as that will impact life on the road. In this week's HireMaster Health and Fitness Tip of the Week, skin care and musculoskeletal well-being are also growing concerns among drivers. Sun exposure provides health benefits, such as vitamin D, but too much exposure to sunlight and ultraviolet rays can increase the risk of skin damage and skin cancer. Many windshields on semi-trucks provide protection from UV rays for both the driver and passenger within the cab. However, this alone may not be enough protection. Although there is sun protection on the windshield, there is a lack of protection on the driver or passenger side windows. Experts have shared that especially during the summer months, too much exposure is almost guaranteed when driving long hours. Here are a few ways drivers can better protect themselves from too much sun exposure this summer. Be aware of the UV index when driving and potential sun exposure risks. Attain temporary shades for side windows or invest in tinted windows. Lastly, make sure to apply sunscreen regularly, especially on arms and on the face. In the news this week, the Jones Act is ramping up as a controversial law and is now swaying the price of gas. In an article written by AIER, or the American Institute for Economic Research, the Jones Act, quote, restricts foreign-owned ships from loading cargo in one U.S. port and unloading it in another. It does not restrict foreign-owned vessels from discharging cargo in numerous U.S. ports or from loading cargo in multiple U.S. ports, end quote. In short, fuel and oil products that are distributed across America must follow the Jones Act, which makes shipping more expensive, as the U.S.-based ships are considerably more expensive to operate, with the number of Jones Act ships dwindling down to a mere 100 in operation. The law, written in the 1920s, intended to subsidize the maritime shipping industry in exchange for use of the vessels during wartime, is drastically outdated, according to its detractors. Also in the news this week, a controversial law in California, known as AB 5, fell short of reaching the Supreme Court last week, sending it back to the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, where it will end up taking effect and have a significant impact on trucking in California. The greatest impact may be with drayage drivers who are independent contractors, as port companies have relied on independent drivers for years to move freight out of the ports. With AB 5, port companies may be forced to hire drivers as employees, which will also require them to purchase their own trucks. The Drayage Union of Northern California and Northern Nevada, which is represented by Teamsters Joint Council 7, wants the drivers to be employees, and the state of California wants to place the burden on buying zero-emission vehicles on the port companies. Independent contractors who seek to continue working in the Golden State will need to evaluate their options, including if they will choose to run under their own authority or become an employee of a company. According to Greg Feary, a partner with the Scopelitis law firm, quote, the conventional wisdom is that most of these independent contractors don't want to be employee drivers, end quote. And AB5 will put that theory to the test. The California Trucking Association responded to the news by saying, quote, in addition to the direct impact on California's 70,000 owner-operators who have 7 days to cease longstanding independent businesses, the impact of taking tens of thousands of truck drivers off the road will have devastating repercussions on an already fragile supply chain, increasing costs and worsening runaway inflation. In this week's Weather Watch, much of the United States can expect more rain this week, including the Midwest and eastern Great Lakes regions may experience heavy rain, and lighter rains are expected across the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest. Temperatures should reach into the low 100s in much of Texas and some parts of Arizona and Southern California. In northern states, including the Rockies, the Plain States, and the New England area, temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. The central Mississippi Valley through the southern Mississippi Valley and some states in the Midwest are experiencing excessive heat advisories that will last most of the week. And parts of western Montana can expect severe weather with potential flooding due to warmer temperatures in the area. And that's going to do it for Behind the Wheel. I'm Angela Roach. Be sure to follow or subscribe to catch each episode and leave us a like and a comment. We'll see you next time on Behind the Wheel, powered by HireMaster.